Greetings everyone, this is Connor from Dagora TV. In this video is kind of a response video in a way to Pete Hines basically on the Kind of Funny Games cast recently. He was on it as kind of like a one-on-one interview with Greg Miller. It was a fantastic interview. As I'm recording this, the first 3 parts have come out. And there's another one to come out tomorrow is the day I'm recording this, and the full thing will be uploaded. I definitely go suggest that you go watch it. I'll be putting the link in the description so that you can definitely go and have a look, because it's a fantastic interview. A look behind the curtain of what really happens when it comes to the executive decisions at Bethesda, and how Pete Hines, makes a decision on games, how he's received games in the past. It's a really good interview, and definitely go over and have a look at that. But the big thing that I kind of got from that, on the second part of it, was Pete Hines said in the interview was when he was talking about how they respond to fans' criticism of the game, how they make changes and adjustments to take that big step forward in the one after, in the next game that they got coming out of Bethesda Game Studios. He says that Todd Howard always has kind of like an insightful look at fan criticism. He says always look at the problem and not the solution, which I thought was kind of a good an idea for a video, because in really any video that I've made when regarding an Elder Scrolls game, regarding a Bethesda game, or any video I've seen kind of for both of them, the problem is mentioned, and then we go on for like the next 5-6 minutes of the video saying possible solutions. And I thought, that's actually a good idea, for a video to just outline a few problems with Bethesda games that I've had with the last couple of Bethesda Game Studios games specifically, and say as a way that how they can improve when whether it be the next project, which looking like it's going to be something like Starfield, is what the rumors are going to be. So I thought in the last couple of games, the games I picked out is Fallout 4 and Skyrim, and I've got 5 problems for each of them, and I'm just going to say what the problems are, why I found them frustrating or an inconvenience for the game, and then move on to the next one. So the first problem I had with Fallout 4 was dialogue options, and specifically I believe this is the reason because it came from a voice protagonist. I've talked about this in other videos, that it's a big part of me in Bethesda Game Studios games is to roleplay the character that we play as, and being able to take control of the character, choose what they want to say, and it's something that I really enjoy having in my video games, particularly in role-playing games, to have that choice and pick the dialogue option that suits my character well, and not really be in this 4-button system that they had with Fallout 4, where you kind of expect a similar reaction. What each reaction is going to get from one being like an okay, one being neutral, one being bad, and one being good, them kind of responses. And I didn't really enjoy that kind of ideology around it. I wanted something with a lot more depth, something similar to the early Fallout games, specifically 1 and 2, and being able to have a lot of different dialogue options. Then it's something that I hope that gets improved for the next Bethesda Game Studios game. Bugs is something that's very, very frequent in Bethesda Game Studios games, specifically in Fallout 4 as well. Those areas of the game that you couldn't go into, until patches were released. The game would just crash going into certain specific, villages in the game, not necessarily the villages, but turrets and things like that. Being able to take down areas where it's been pointed out on the map, you're going over there to do a certain quest, and then the game would just completely shut down. Floating objects in the game was a big one as well. Also little glitches here and there with foliage, popping in and pops in and things like that. But bugs is something that is kind of becoming unacceptable, with the level of bugs that they've got in, Fallout 4 specifically, and, it kind of felt really unpolished and not a clean game, and it's something that I want to improve, so, when you're playing the game, you're playing the next Bethesda game, it's something that's not going to be getting in your way, and not something that's frustrating you every time, you're going out into the open world, or, just trying to take part in general, have fun with the game. It's a really frustrating, poor thing that, needs to be improved upon. Consequence of choice is something that's been fantastic in Fallout New Vegas, Fallout 3, the early Fallout games, even in a game like The Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind, and also in a lot of other recent RPGs, like Dragon Age Inquisition was a big thing, in The Witcher 3 as well, and it's something that I think is becoming more and more important in video games as a whole. And Fallout 4 really kind of lacked with this. There's a lot of false choice in that game, and it's something that kind of comes with the Fallout territory. You expect it to be major choices that change the flow of the game, like the whole thing with Megaton in Fallout 3, and it's something that, personally, again, it's something that I look for to strive for, to make my playthrough different than other people's, and having a poor consequence of that is something that's really annoying. And it's all about choices in the playstyle with what we get with Bethesda, and it'd be great to translate that over to the story. And yes, they did have multiple endings of the game, but it felt like what we was doing earlier in the game didn't really have that big of an impact. It was more these kind of key touchstone points that had an impact, and that's not really what I want to see in games. I want it to be kind of more Witcher-esque in that sense, where you make a choice and we have a lot of different aspects of that playthrough can go down, and something that Bethesda I think can improve upon. Inventory management was a joke in Fallout 4. You know, picking up everything, you know, in the game really came from the settlement system. Picking up everything so you can get all these different resources and be able to translate them into building structures and things like that, and different weapon combinations, which was all a cool idea. But it was just the poor way that it was kind of kept under. The poor UI it was kept under became a nightmare for it to manage what items meant what, trying to find different guns that you created. Like, I made a gun, you're trying to find and trying to change weapon, and you go through this huge scroll of items because you've got so many items in the game. And they could have found better ways to kind of clean that up, in my opinion, because it was really poor in areas, you know, trying to figure out, especially those players when the game first came out, of when you're taking items from a body and putting them into your own inventory, and you're getting confused of which one is yours and which one is his. You know, you're taking things, all your items, and putting them into other people, and you continue with the game. You're like, holy shit, I've lost all my stuff. You know, it was a confusing aspect of Fallout 4, and something that, again, something that I think can be different and changed, because there's a lot of other games that have sleeker and cleaner UI, and Fallout 4 had a major problem with that, with the amount of items you had in the game, and it needs to be something that they spend a lot of time with to come up with something clean and a bit easier to manage. Repetitive quests is a complaint I think a lot of people have, especially when it comes down to the settlement quest that we have from Preston in the game. Every time, you know, the Preston will come up to you and suggest a different settlement is under attack and we need to save it, it felt frustrating to go and do the same quest again. And so it come to the point where I just stop and just completely ignore Preston, because I don't want to do the same thing over and over again. If there was a bit more of a variety in what we were doing, a variety in reward, a variety in the quest objective, a variety in the way the quest structure actually worked, then I would have enjoyed it a lot more. You know, the repetition of what we got is something that I found is frustrating amongst Bethesda games in general. There's a lot of fetch quests in Oblivion. You know, go to this cave, and you know, you go to the cave, and there's going to be a guy that you're going to have to kill, and the guy, you'd go there and the guy may already be dead, and you go there, you get the note, and you bring it back, you get your reward. And you know, there's a lot of those style quests in Oblivion. And in Fallout 4, you know, the repetitive settlement quest is something that I really got frustrated with, and want to have a bit more variety in there, a bit more imagination when it comes to these repetitive, you know, style quests, you know, where they keep coming to you. You know, same thing happened with Dark Brotherhood and Skyrim as well, you know, where when you get to the end of the Skyrim mission, there'd be just repetitive killing quests, you know, repetitive assassination missions, and it just got boring, and you know, you ignore that and you stop doing it all the way to the end, and something that, you know, they need to work on. So now we're moving on to Skyrim, and the reason I'm moving on to Skyrim is because that was the last Elder Scrolls game, and it looks like of Fallout and Elder Scrolls, there's going to be a new Elder Scrolls game first before a new Fallout game over at Bethesda Game Studios. Obviously, it is 3 projects along, but I felt like, you know, picking an Elder Scrolls game, it would be a good idea to, you know, suggest, you know, improvements for not just their last game as well, but games which could have, you know, have different combat styles and things like that. So I thought I'd go ahead and choose Skyrim as well. First one with Skyrim is floaty combat needs to be improved. The combat in Skyrim has got dated. You know, it was poor when it came out for a lot of people. I've not been the biggest critic of it, you know, as a lot of other people are, but I still have kind of warmed to the idea that yes, the combat needs to have a lot more weight to it. And, you know, we had that, I suppose, with Skyrim with the shield, you know, with the bash and the shield, and more of that would have improved. But it did feel like you were swinging it when you're swinging your sword. You know, just have little animations like your sword getting stuck in someone's armor or clanging off it and bouncing away. Not have it just slice through and you're just slicing things and dealing damage to the person, because it doesn't feel like it every time you replay Skyrim. It's something that, again, has to a more immersive factor. You know, it makes you more immersed in what you're doing as your character, gets you more into what you're really doing into the fight if it feels more real, not just slicing away, and kind of makes you concentrate more, because it kind of takes you a bit out of the experience when you're not having a really strong combat system, and making that title will do a world of good in my opinion. Bugs comes into Skyrim again. It's kind of a trend with Bethesda's games. It's something that they need to work on. Bugs in Skyrim were, in my opinion, a lot worse than Fallout 4. It's something that they did have to take a step to improve, but they need to take another step again. You know, floating dragons going backwards was a big thing. Game crashing, stairs invisible that you go walk into. We're just naming a few. It'd become annoying. You know, certain specific NPCs not following you and not telling you the right dialogue, being able to pick up certain quests, you know, game-breaking bugs in the game that become really, really annoying, and just QAing the games more and more is going to become more and more vital, in my opinion, and hopefully working on that to have a cleaner, sleeker game would be a lot better and make my experience a lot more enjoyable. Repetitive voice acting from NPCs. This is something that really comes from the guards and the ones that you can't actually go up to and have a list of dialogue options to talk to. This is more things where they say like 3 or 4 lines, I took an arrow to the knees, and a famous line that we always heard from people in Skyrim that become a meme, and just repetitive lines over and over and over again. It was something that we'd laughed about when the game first came out in the first few months after it, but it was something that really, when you go back and playing it, and the jokes kind of got old. It has that nostalgia factor, of course, certainly at the beginning, but it just becomes a drab. It becomes something that's frustrating again, and it takes you out of that immersion feeling, and something that takes me out of being in that place of immersion of an Elder Scrolls game is something that I get frustrated at times. And, being able to go ahead and work on that, hiring more voice actors as well for, different races, instead of just having one Nord female voice, would be better and a necessary step, because it is something that I find, annoying hearing the same voice over and over again. How many times do we hear Rayloff's voice in the game from different guards around the game and things like that because he was annoyed? And yeah, I think it's something that, will help immersion, especially for my game anyway. It's a personal feeling that I think is something that I kind of find a little bit frustrating and a little bit boring to hear over and over again. There was way too many potions in Skyrim. Todd Howard talked about this in an interview that, you could give someone in an RPG the potion that does absolutely everything in the game, the potion that's a lifesaver, gives you ultimate damage and yada yada yada, and the person would never use it because they're saving it for, a time when they feel like they're in more danger when they need to use it. But my idea with too many potions specifically comes down to health, magicka, and stamina potions. There was way too many of those in the game. Way too many to the fact that you didn't even feel like you had to manage, your own inventory when it comes down to your potions. Oh, I don't want to use this potion right now because I don't know if I'm going to get one. I've only got 3 at the minute. I don't know if I'm going to be able to find one, and I'm going to have to get materials to actually craft this own potion. You can play the whole game of Skyrim without doing alchemy and not really seeing any of the consequences of that. If you focus on alchemy, there's not really that many benefits of doing it in Skyrim, personally. Mainly because of the idea that potions, you find so many around the world, and so many that help you that you can just spam the button. All what I did was lock it to a favourite button, 1 or 2, and whenever my health got low, I just pressed the button, took health. And, it kind of carried on that way, because you find so much in and around the game, and it's so much that became cheating kind of using them in my eyes, and I'd forced myself not to use health potions, because it was getting frustrating. So minimizing that and bringing the amount of potions down is something that I think could help the game being harder. Maybe there could be a difficulty thing, and harder difficulties finding left potions around the world. I think that'd probably maybe be harder to manage, but hopefully they'll figure out some way, to bring down the amount of potions in the game. And the final point that I've got is story characters in the game seem to disappear. This is people like Rayloff. This is people, like even, Yarbargroth, after you've done that questline. People like Ulfric Stormcloak, disappear. It's a thing with me that I kind of got frustrated playing more recent games, The Witcher, where characters come up again. Even Fallout 4, we got a little bit of that, a step in the right direction with Preston, popping back again. It was frustrating, and, there's other characters in the game that come here and there, come back and forth with you, which was something that I really found refreshing to, just to check up on the characters, see how they kind of get along. And it's something that really adds to, the value factor of the game. Seeing characters again in and around the world, like it would have been great, to see Rayloff a few more times and have a bit more of a relationship with Rayloff from Skyrim in that game, like instead of just seeing him pop up at the, the missions at the with Ulfric Stormcloak with the Civil War of Skyrim, that was all well and cool. But, just seeing him around the world, seeing him, in a tavern maybe before you do the Civil War questline, you just go into a tavern in Whiterun and then he's just sitting at a table and be able to talk to him, what's he been up to and things like that. Having characters from the story just keep popping up over and over again in different quest lines when it makes sense would be cool in my opinion, and add to that factor of building relationship with characters, caring more about characters in the game, because there wasn't a huge amount of characters in Skyrim that I really cared about, really outright cared about, like I did in other games like The Witcher 3. And again, something that I feel like Bethesda can go out of the way and really make that a more valuable aspect to their game, and hopefully, they'll see some of the points that I've made, and hopefully other people will make, and in and around the internet relative to these, and hopefully think they need to improve on those aspects. So thanks a lot for watching this video. Please leave your comments below on what problems you think Bethesda games have. Bethesda Game Studio games specifically, because that's really what this channel is kind of aimed towards. But if you want to do Bethesda games as well, like Dishonored and things like that, and maybe common themes and problems around them games, put them in the comments below. Because one thing that I was surprised about when it comes to Pete Hines' interview with Kind of Funny Games is that I really got the impression that they do watch a lot of the community's videos around there, read a lot of community thoughts and things like that, way more than I originally anticipated. So I think now's probably a good time to leave your comments on videos that I've got recently around Bethesda games, because they or on Reddit posts, not just mine obviously, but on Reddit posts, any you know, Bethesda related channels out there to leave your comments, because, you know, the people at Bethesda do read that stuff on the forums as well, the Bethesda forums, the Elder Scrolls forums, the Fallout forums, to really see where they can improve upon and things like that, and see what the problems are with the game. Again, you know, do it all in nice jest and everything, don't make it go over the top, but I think leaving your comments below what really your problems are on a wider different videos, and also on my videos as well, to really get that point out there, and, you know, make sure, you know, Bethesda do hear what your problems are. Maybe tweet at them as well, you know, if you really find that important, so that they can really find a common theme and look what to improve upon. These in this video, in my opinion, obviously, I want to hear if you agree with me as well. I'm looking forward to seeing what a lot of people's problems are and things like that. So please make sure you follow me on Twitter as well at DegoraC. Check out that kind of funny games interview as well. Greg Miller did a fantastic job interviewing Pete Hines, and hopefully, you know, you get as much joy in watching that out as I did. You know, good look behind the scenes of what's happening at Bethesda. Make sure to subscribe, put your notifications on. I've got a few more videos coming out soon as well, and I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.